Hello everybody, in this video I'll be talking about using lists and list boxes. So let's get started. So first off, let's talk about what a list is. List basically, as you should know, it's just basically a bunch of items that are put together. So basically it could be a shopping list, it could be a list of things you need to do, to-do list, or it could be a list of homework. So you can display lists on Visual Basic by selecting the list box. Let's try that out. Listbox looks like this, nothing very special about it, but not yet. So now what we're going to do is we're going to click on that little triangle inside and click Edit Items. And in here you can put in all the items you want. So let's say, let's create a shopping list. So let's do eggs, milk, and let's add in some bread as well. Now this may look to you like a ordinary list, but it's not, because there's some special things you can do with it. So let's try it out. So let me just run this program, and as you can see, you can actually select these things. So you can actually do cool stuff. So you can actually detect where the user selected, so that you can create something like, let's say, a list of files, and when the user clicks on one file, it's going to open that up. In this case, you can have it that it's going to give information about this certain object. In this case, all we're going to do is basically do a very simple thing about it, and that's just a plain old click event that shows that displays what you click. So first off, when you double click on Listbox 1, you'll get selected index changed. Now we'll talk about this later, but what we're going to do now is we're going to go up until we find click. Now what we're going to do is type in message box, and then inside all you have to do is listbox1.text. And that's it. Okay, so let's click on milk, let's say, and there you go, it says milk. And bread, oops, didn't click on it. Bread, same thing. Now, you can also do some cool stuff with it by adding things to it. So you can add stuff by first off doing it inside your program, but what we're going to do is we're going to add it from the runtime itself. So let me show you what I'm going to do. We're going to add in a text box and a button that says add. Now when I click the button, it's going to add in the whatever I say inside this text box. I'm going to call this button, let's put in add. So double click on add, and what we're going to do is type in very simply listbox1.items.add, then make sure it's add, not add range. Why does that keep happening? Add, and then in here type in textbox1.text. Now let's try it out. Alright, so we have our default list up there. Now I'm going to type in, say, grapes. Now click add, and guess what? Grapes has been added. Now let's talk about index. Now the index of a list is very similar to index in various other places that you'll find in programming, but let's talk about index in general. Index is basically a number given to each of the items in the list. It's zero based, so it starts from 0 and then ends wherever. So eggs would be 0, milk would be 1, bread would be 2, and everything else would keep going. Same way. So what we can do using the index is we can say that when the index, the selected index, changes, you can do something. So let's say you use the arrow keys to shift down, then that would be selected index. So let's try that out. I'm going to use the arrow keys. Now if you click on this, it will register the click and the selected index change. So eggs is going to come up, and then it's going to come up twice. So now if I go down using the arrow keys, you can see it's changing and it's showing a message box. If I click, it's going to get the click event and the selected index change. Okay, so now that we learned about the index and everything, I think we're ready to learn a little more deeper things about the list box. So one of the coolest things is that this is a list, so you can always clear it. So it's a very simple process, but it's very important because if you're going to want to reuse this later, you don't want the same information in there. It's going to just get in the way. So we're going to make a button called clear. Now double click on clear. We're going to do listbox1.items.clear. And what this is going to do is it's basically just going to delete everything that's on there. So click clear, and guess what? Nothing's there. Now, for a more advanced thing, using indexes, sort of, let's create another button and position it. I'm going to call this loop. Now what this is going to do is it's going to loop through all the items that are inside this list box. And this is very useful in different areas of programming, but let's see how it works. So to create the loop, we're going to use a for loop. And it's going to say for each then item in listbox1.items message box display item, and that's it. Yep. So what does this mean? So for each item is just basically a simple little string variable. So that's really insignificant. But the main part is listbox1.items. This means that it's going to go through each of the items that are inside listbox1. Then it's going to display the data that's inside that item by going through the message box. I can change this item to anything I want. I can change this to something like var1 if I really wanted to. So it doesn't really matter, but to keep it in theme, usually it's called item. Now, let's try this out. Let's see what happens. Let's make sure that it works. I mean, it makes sense to work, right? So, let's see. It says eggs, milk, and bread. So basically cycle through all of these. Now if we add grapes, let's say, add, and go to loop, eggs, milk, bread, and then it should say grapes. And there you go, it says grape. So it's basically going to cycle through regardless of what it was previously. It's going to always cycle through a new list. Okay, now that we have used this list, a visible one, let's try using a list that's actually invisible in the sense that it's just a variable. So first off, let's create a new list, but outside of any private subs. So we're just going to put in dim, then let's do demo list as new list. Then inside parentheses, you need to put in of string or any other object or anything you want. Now let's create a private sub, or actually, yeah, let's create a private sub. It's going to say this is demo list entry. And in here, what we're going to do is we're going to add stuff into that demo list. Now, adding stuff is very easy. Just click demo list dot and add. And in here, we're going to type in, let's create a office, things in an office. So laptop. Let's do demo list dot add. How about a computer? Now, we're going to add one more. Let's add a desk. Now, this list is now created, and these things have been added to this. Now, it's a variable, so it's not going to be displayed anywhere. In order to display it, you need to create a little thing for it. So we're going to add a little button. We're going to click add demo. Maybe double click this. First thing you want to do is run demo list entry, because otherwise it won't be run when the program starts. Next, what you want to do is type in listbox1 dot items dot add, but instead of writing add, you want add range. And what this means is that it's going to add everything that's inside demo list. But you can't just do it like that. You need one more thing added to demo list. It needs to be demo list dot then to array. We'll get to arrays later, but for now, just think of it as a set of objects, or in this case, set of string. You want to add that entire set into items.addRange. So that's going to add them all in. Let's try it out. So we have eggs, milk, bread. After you click add demo, it should add all the office items in. And guess what? We have laptop, computer, and desk as well. Okay, so that's it for this video. Thanks for watching. Make sure to like and subscribe as always, and see you next time.